All right, I'm going to go. Here we go. Okay, welcome to the Blood Prison Shakedown. Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Here at the Reformatory, we're at their house at Reformatory in Mansfield, and, you know, that's where I run Blood Prison, of course, a haunted attraction. And we do a lot of stuff here, actually. We do everything from, you know, my event to a Shawshank 5K and a host of other things. I mean, we could be here all day talking about that. We also do a tattoo and music festival that's really gaining some traction here of recent years. Last year, of course, not included, but it's called Incarceration. And the guy who basically runs that, Dan Janssen, is with us today. Dan, how's it going, man?
What's going on, Vic?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Good as well, man.
Yeah?
Happy we're actually having a festival this year.
Oh, me too. And we're close. We're getting there.
Yeah.
We're getting close.
Less than 60 days out, so It's crunch time.
It is, yeah. And we've got, you know, a little history. I worked with you the first couple years and, you know, helped you out with security, helped you out with the grounds crew. Man, that first year was brutal.
I thought you were in charge of the whole venue when we first got here because you're the first person I remember seeing.
Yeah.
And so it just was just funny to me thinking, like, I always thought Vic was like in charge of everything. And
I am.
You know, just had to get a hold of you if I needed anything at OSR. That was the guy. So
yeah.
But
no, it was funny because before you got involved, you know, when there was a little fallout with the previous event, and when that happened, you know, Paul Smith, who's the executive director here at the Reformatory, you know, was just like, yeah, you know, we're got to go a different direction. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever, you know. So he was like, a couple weeks later, he's like, hey, man, what do you think about running Inc? And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like running the show. I'm like, I can't do that, dude. I'm like, I have no clue how to do that. You know, I barely run my event. You want me to run another one like that? You know, because there was, you know, all the talks and everything, and then, you know, everything had happened. But I was just like, no, dude, no way, I couldn't do it. And then after being involved with you guys, you know, I'm just like, whoo-wee, boy, that is
you're like I dodged a bullet, right?
Oh yeah. So, real quick, what is your official title of Incarceration?
Co-founder, one of the owners, and current general manager.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah.
So then, how did you become involved exactly with this event here?
You know, just to make a long story short, through a mutual friend who, you know, talking about Mike Kaminsky.
Okay.
And, you know, Mike had worked financially on the previous event. And when you guys when OSR was looking to replace the previous event, you know, Mike had some interest in funding a new operation here for like another rock festival or whatever else. And I had met Mike through a mutual friend, which was Mike Galbraith, who runs the tattoo section.
The dude.
Yeah, the dude.
Yeah.
The dude is the dude. So I've known Mike for a long time, or the dude, we'll refer to him as.
Yeah.
He brought me in because he knew that I had some experience in booking, and I had been working in the concert scene for over a decade. So,
okay.
And then Mike Kaminsky, who was you know, funding a lot of the stuff. He, funny enough, I was actually working on a music app, and Mike was going to invest in that music app, and you know, it just kind of fell through, but he had remembered, you know, oh, that Dan guy, you know, and then dude was like, hey, yeah, Dan, he does concerts. So they kind of brought me in, and I sat down just to kind of discuss like what my thoughts would be on producing a rock festival, and you know, kind of laid out my game plan for it, and gave kind of some details on just what I thought it would take to make this thing happen. And essentially with the previous event that was here, it was obviously a lot smaller. And what we had all kind of, after talking, wanted to do was like, how do we grow this thing? How do we make it huge? Because we thought that this was a amazing venue, amazing backdrop, and just made so much sense for a festival. So long story short, when we, after we talked and met, pretty much left the meet, or, you know, Mike at the time was like, hey, you got the job. You know what I mean? If you want to put it on, he felt good about it. And I left the meeting, and I turned to dude and I said, man, I got to figure out how to do everything I said I could just do in there, because I don't know what, you know. So it was kind of funny, but you know, it kind of you know, brings us that first year of incarceration, and you know, a lot of naiveness going in, which is funny because I think if we knew what we knew now, we never would have tried to do 2018, because I think we started in January.
Yes.
We announced the show in March, and then had the show in July, and you know, as a 4-year veteran now in this kind of thing, I'm like, we're planning 2022 right now. You know what I mean? So looking back on it, I can't believe we pulled off year one in 2018, but it was fun and it was great for the city. It was great for the state, and we just had a blast, and I think the fans did too. And and they've shown that with the growth of this thing,
For sure. So now, did you hear of have you heard of the previous event? Did you ever heard of it before?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
I had heard of it. I'd never been. The first time I came to the Reformatory was the first
When
meeting
we had
I
our
had.
meeting,
Yeah,
yeah.
when we had with you
Yeah.
guys. Yeah, so back in I want to say the end of December 2017 or something like that, or January 2018. That was the first time that I had ever even been here. So yeah, it was. I had heard of it though. I mean, it was definitely, but I hadn't been to it. But yeah,
I got you.
Yep.
So that first year, like you touched on the first year, which I want to talk about because I remember that year.
Yeah.
And when we had our meeting, because I was kind of involved in that, and then after you guys left, we had another meeting.
Yeah.
Paul and Dan are probably gonna kill me for saying, God damn it, Vic, tell them that stuff. No, but it was like we had another meeting, and I was just like, there's no way. There's no way they're going to be able to do a show in July.
Right.
I'm like, I could be wrong, but that seems like it's going to be a lot of work. And then once I got involved and you got your moving pieces, the dude up handling the tattoos, and I was just like, okay, yeah, we'll be all right. And then once we got there, everyone was just like, great job to pull what
incredible,
you got.
Yeah. I mean, I remember like when we were announcing in March, like I was booking up until midnight that night, like just trying to get that poster out by 9 a.m. in the morning. So yeah, I mean, it was, and then up until, I mean, it's funny looking back on it now, but like in 2018, I remember like just the hiccups in first year festival people and not knowing what we were doing as much, but kind of going in there, and I remember doors opening at like 3. And I don't know if you remember this at all, but but we had nobody at the door, like nobody checked in. The door, it was just kind of funny, like looking back on it now. But man, it was a wild event behind the scenes. I wish that there was cameras following everybody around, seeing what was going on. But it ended up being such a great time and just a fun event. And
it was.
Yeah, we're just happy that we can hold it here. I mean, and work with you guys on this thing.
So in 2018, now you said you had previously done concerts. Were you a promoter, just up in the Cleveland area?
Just like smaller shows, like club shows.
Gotcha.
500,000 cap rooms.
Okay,
so I used to do that. Yep.
All right. So then the first year of Ink rolls around, and you pulled out. Let's see. Friday you had Rise Against. A Day to Remember. Saturday, you guys got Bush, Our Lady Peace, Living Color.
Yeah.
We were really stoked when we saw Living Color. We were like, oh my God.
They're a popular one on fest. Like if you get them on a festival, there's not one person that's like, I don't like Living Color. It's like everybody loves them,
Yeah, and it was just great. Of course, and then you see them it would have been 18, but they're all just in kind of like camo shorts and not the spandex stuff, and it was just great to see them. Like I never saw them back in the day, but it was just really great to see them. And then Sunday, it was such a variety of days from like Rise Against, then Bush, and then Sunday was more of a metal day with Black Label Society, Clutch, Hatebreed, and it was a good variety of music for everyone, I think. And it was just like, it was killer. It went off, and the fact that you guys pulled that off, and you had Hell's a Poppin'.
Yeah.
The big circus thing.
Circus sideshow.
Yeah, it was great, man. Everyone just had such an amazing time. And it was just fun to be a part of.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean?
I agree with you. Like, I mean, just stepping outside of like the actually running it and just being a fan. Yeah. Like that first year was it's just so much fun. So it's in year 2. Obviously every year's fun, but it's just an amazing experience. Like all from top to bottom. Yeah. The workers, everybody around was just really easy to get along with and fun, and the fans were having a great time. And yeah, it's pretty nice. I take a lot of pride in being able to hold an event in my home state, you know what I mean, and kind of build this thing from the ground up. And being as involved as I was in in the early days, it was like I know personally. I'm sure you were the same way when I got home, because we came back on Monday and was doing stuff. And then finally, when we got done on Monday, I remember going home and I just wanted to collapse. Yeah, I just wanted to fall down and like, oh my gosh! And I could, because I'm not sure what it was like on your end. Yeah, but just we had crew here that year that they basically cleaned the grounds and then maybe went out to the parking lot across the street, would sleep for a couple hours, and then come in at 8 or 9 and just start all over. You know what I mean? Right. So they were like troopers.
you know, and I was so happy on year 2 when you was like, "Hey, I'm gonna farm out the parking," and I'm like, "Oh my god, thank you."
Yeah, we're gonna hire the parking company and waste management companies. Yeah,
but we had to do grassroots that first year, which was it was cool though. You know what I mean? To be able to do that and and pull it off.
It was really neat. I mean, and it's something that I'll forever be proud of, and you should as well. You had a ton of work that first year.
Oh yeah, but it was fun.
We loaded your shoulders full.
Oh man,
like I said, I thought you ran the place. I thought you could hang it. I thought you could handle it.
Man, I'm telling you. Kidding. So then fast forward to 2019. Now, 2018, you guys had Hell's a Poppin', which turned out cool for us because that year at our event, we weren't able to bring them in, but for 2019, I was able to bring them in for our Halloween event, which they're great people, great
Love
people.
them. They're awesome guys.
Yeah. And they do tours and everything. So 2019, we were able to come in as Blood Prison and run 2 sections of our haunt, which we're going to do this year as well.
Yeah, totally.
And that was amazing for us because, of course, my crew wanted to be here because, let's see, year 2, Shinedown, Taking Back Sunday, Skillet, Fozzy, that was just Friday.
Right.
You know what I mean? Godsmack, Motionless in White. I mean, just the lineup was amazing. So my crew, that's what they listen to. So they're just like,
this is perfect.
You want to work? Yes, we do. Get to run the haunt and then enjoy the last 2 or 3 bands of the show. So,
sure, yeah.
It's really cool. And then we had a lot of people come in to the haunt and be like, I didn't know you guys were open. You know what I mean? I'm like, well, we are for now, and then we'll come back in October. So, for us personally, that was great to be able to be a part of it. And it was just, again, seeing all the moving pieces. Because actually that year I was still working for you. Yeah. With security.
Yep.
And I just had my guys, my head guys, my set guy and my tech run the haunt for us.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which alternate. We had a booth outside, just like we always did. So that was great. On that second year. So tell me the difference. I guess what I'm getting at is tell me the difference between year 1 and year 2 and how the growth happened.
Yeah, I mean, it was insane. I mean, obviously year 1, it was same as you. Everybody got home on Monday and we're just like for like a week, Yeah. But it was, as with most festivals, I mean, the first couple, you can't expect to make any money on a festival for usually the first 3 to 5 years.
Right.
So I mean, there's something to be said about Mike Kaminsky, who was funding this thing, because he was on board. I mean, he was on board for the process and for the long term and to help build and grow this thing. And so him and I met after year 1, and we're like, how do we make this thing bigger? And I was like, we got to up the band budget. You know what I mean? Like, let's up the band budget, and we got to do that. And then also just taking notice of things throughout the festival, like what needs to improve. You know what I mean? What sections have to come up and improve, and how can we make the experience better for the fans? And essentially, you just literally have to pick apart everything you did and criticize it and find a way to make it better. And that's what we did. And I felt that. We brought in some different players, some different people, like for different sections. We didn't try to do everything ourselves, you know what I mean? Which is a mistake that a lot of people make sometimes. It's okay to hire companies and have people come in and help. And, there was just more coordination in year 2. It was just a lot more of a coordinated effort.
And you had more time as well.
Way more time. We had extra 6 months of time, which was incredible. I mean, a lot of like, even when we were trying to book vendors and suppliers and stuff in year 1, a lot of them already had events because it was 3-4 months out. So, I mean, I think that number 1 was the time. You're right, and then 2, we had a bigger budget to work with, and operate the festival and make sure that it was operated properly. So, that being said, I will say in all humbleness that we did not expect to have that growth in year 2. We were like, if we do 9, because year 1 was about 5,000 a day.
Yeah.
Year 2, we were like, if we get to 8,000 to 9,000 a day, then that's going to be like a big deal. You know what I mean? Like a great, and then for us to go to 15 in year 2 per day, was pretty incredible. And like, I was extremely surprised in myself and just like so happy that like the fans reacted that well to it.
Right.
So, Yeah, so that explains a lot of the growth there. I mean, it did. I think timing's a lot to do with it. We had the right bands at the right time.
Yeah.
I think at the time, Shinedown, Godsmack, and Five Finger were all like 1, 2, and 3 on Billboard for like the whole year.
Yeah.
So it does help, with the artists that are performing, and also just to bring Godsmack back here to,
Yes.
where they filmed like their video 20 years earlier for Awake, right?
Awake, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of neat to be able to kind of have them come full circle and do that. But yeah, I think the lineup had a lot to do with it. The vibe, I mean, obviously the vibe is something that's unique to this festival. It is a boutique festival,
right?
And we're the only one in the country with a prison. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I think that the growth surprised everybody in year 2, and definitely was something we were thrilled with. And I remember, like, as soon as year 2 was done, I was like, man, I want to dig in for year 3 already. And like, you already kind of miss it, and you want to get into the next thing. So
yeah, because year two, you mentioned Five Finger Death Punch. You also had Seether on Sunday, and Five Finger Death Punch. I mean, I know who they are.
Yeah,
I'm familiar with their music. Their show was amazing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It was just awesome, and just to have that, how well they interacted with the crowd, it was really funny. And I'm sure you got a lot of these stories, like just from backstage. Everybody wants to know what happens back there,
Yeah.
But there was this one, the one guy who I was my lead security guy. He was very strict when it came to, because we had somebody from that band actually come and say, these are the passes that can get on the stage, and that's it. And we're like, okay, no problem, which is normal,
Sure.
So I showed the security guy. I'm like, these are the guys right here. These are the passes. Anybody else stays off. Well, the drummer for Five Finger Death Punch, during the guy was talking, so he went down to take a piss, and he comes back up, and my head of security's like, hold on there, brother, where are you going? He's like, let me see your pass. He's like, I'm the drummer. And he was just like, yeah, but you ain't got a credential, do you? And a couple other guys were like, his name's Bondo.
No,
he's like,
I'm playing
what
on
are you
stage.
doing?
Yeah.
He's like, let him in. He's the drummer. And he's like, oh shit, I'm sorry. And he was super cool. He's like, you're doing your job. We appreciate it, and shook his hand and everything. But it was just hysterical. I'm like, oh my God.
You're like, yeah, he's got to get on stage. They're going on in about 2 seconds.
Yeah,
here.
I'm just like, what are you doing, dude? But it was just funny to see all that, and just have that experience.
Yeah.
To be able to be a part of that kind of stuff was a lot of fun. So I think it was year 1. It might have been year 1. It doesn't always go as planned. I remember, I want to say it was year 1, actually. There was one band, I think they were a stage 2 band, and they had this crazy fan.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
That was going to we're stalking. I followed this band from there, and she was going to do all this crazy stuff.
Yeah, from California or Vegas or something. Yeah. She's like,
have you ever had to deal with something like that before?
No, never. No, that was weird.
It was.
And they stopped, but she had been stalking a band or something like that.
Yeah.
And she was posting on her socials about it, and it just turned into a really weird thing. And they stopped her at the gate, right? I think they found her. Yeah.
Because it spread right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it was out.
Well, that shows you how fast, the police and security and all that stuff
dude,
works.
They were
on
it, and I think it was 10 minutes, and they had her.
Yeah, I don't think you could be at a safer event than incarceration.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, with the police presence we have, one of the for festival-wise, we definitely have one of the larger police presences that are out there. Security, it's all, this thing, and it's at a prison with a real prison next to it. So you're pretty secure when you have an event here, which is good.
Well, and that's also another thing is, like you mentioned a little bit ago, being here at the prison, we're not at a stadium or an amphitheater.
No, yeah, it's
you
not.
know what I mean? So it's a little more controlled.
Yeah.
So it can, and of course, add to the
challenging.
uniqueness.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's also challenging. I was just talking to somebody the other day about how, with parking and all these things, how we've had to literally just do so much just to get the infrastructure in here and the properties around here. And you have amazing neighbors who allow us to use their properties and all this stuff like that, which is amazing. It really is. Without that, this festival doesn't exist. So it's kind of nice to have that support from the city, from the community.
Yeah.
Because we are at a prison. At an old prison, there isn't a parking lot that holds, 8,000 cars outside. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because
that's rough.
I don't think when they were building it, they were like, they're going to have big rock concerts here someday.
Yeah. We've had someone, this is right when I first started here long ago. They said somebody had left a message. I think it was somebody leave a message. You guys should close that prison. I did time there. You should be ashamed of yourself to what you guys are doing. And we're just like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? It's like, it's not our fault you did time here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I knew somebody that did time here too. They were kind of wore it as a badge of honor. They were like,
you're right. I survived.
I did too. I survived the real time. So.
I don't think Levi Schofield, the guy who, back in the 1800s that designed is like, they're going to do a rock show here one day. Up in the main Central Guard, they're going to be tattooing people.
Exactly. And what's funny is like, I've seen comments on Facebook and on some of the social media stuff. People will comment like, "Oh, I served time there. Can't wait to go back and see a concert."
Yeah.
So there are, I think, on everything, there's a flip side to it too. There's a lot of people that, that did time or that stayed here and and are excited to like come back. They're different people than they were back then or whatever.
Yeah.
So. It's interesting. I'm sure kind of get that in everywhere you go. But
there was someone here recently that Elena was telling us about. Or was it you, Elena, or was it who was telling me about that today? Somebody came in and it was a former inmate, and what was he talking about? He was talking about just how rough it was here, and all the stuff he did. But it just that kind of happens all the time with different people that come in, but. That's what happens when you're here, It is. I guess there's still people at the other prison that were here.
Oh,
that went to even from that long ago. So you're always going to hear those crazy stories. So I know personally, with incarceration and running the haunt here, that we love it.
Yeah.
But it's we love coming here and seeing all the people because especially this year, which we'll get into in a little bit. The musical guests you got coming this year we're just really ecstatic about that because that's our crowd, but a lot of people ask me because I get this a lot too. It's like, how do I get a tattoo on there? And I'm like, well, you better book it. Because,
you better book it early.
Yeah, because it does. It's a little bit difficult. So talk about the tattoo end of things because I think sometimes that gets lost because when you bring in Slipknot,
right.
People are going to be like, oh, I get some ink while I'm there, okay. So tell us about how you dealt with that side of the show as far as the tattooing upstairs.
Yeah, I mean it's exclusive. I mean that's at the end of the day it's not a big tattoo convention. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a rock festival that's got tattoo artists there, and it's hard to get an appointment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that does kind of add a little bit to it. You know what I mean? You can't just get a tattoo at the prison. You definitely got to schedule it, and then there are a few people that do walk-ups. But it is a hard thing, so it's not like everybody can get one. So I do think there's something exclusive about that, which does make it kind of cool, gives it a bit of a cool factor. I wish we could have more. I know that Mike, who runs the tattoo section, he looks at every year. He's trying to find a new way to get more tattoo artists in here.
Yeah.
But he handpicks all the artists himself, and he pulls them in from all over the country. So he literally spends months on end going through social media, looking at Instagram, all these things, just trying to find like the best tattoo artists that kind of like some of them are unknowns, but they're still amazing. So he's really particular about who he invites out to the event or who he wants to come, and then he's got some people that've been here since year one who he once they're here and they like it and they want to come back, he'll use them every year. So not only is it hard to get a tattoo, it's also hard to be a tattoo artist and get on the event because a lot of these artists just come back every year, and there's some staples that are just probably going to be here for the entire duration of incarceration, however long we go, which is cool because we've kind of built a little bit of a family, and I know, he's really close with his artists, and they they work together on stuff throughout the year, and it's something I know he takes a lot of pride in, and we as a festival are just happy to have because you don't have incarceration without the ink.
Exactly.
And it's definitely, it's definitely something super important to the fest in the uniqueness of it.
Sure.
And, it's kind of a neat thing, but you're right. It does get overlooked a lot. And I think that, one of these days we're going to find a way to expand that whole section.
Well, I mean, it's cool to go up there.
Yeah.
I've never gotten ink while up there.
Yeah.
But it was like the first time I went up, it just sounds like a beehive. It sounds like you are in a beehive.
Right.
It's just
everywhere.
Everywhere. And then the central guard is just full, and the east diagonal is just full. And it's, people just get, and then you walk by and start looking, and you're like, wow, because these guys are really talented artists.
Yeah.
I mean, they can do some really cool work.
They do amazing work, and it's like, you know, and for all intents and purposes, it's pretty affordable for getting an exclusive tattoo artist at Shawshank Prison. You know what I mean? So it definitely,
yeah, sure.
It definitely is something that if you can get an appointment, I totally encourage it. It's safe, it's nice, it's you know, it's all health department approved up there. So
right,
people are like, tattoo in a prison, is that like Rusty Needle in a cell?
Yeah,
no, none of that. It's actually it's in a great area. So
yeah, no, it's yeah, I'm sure they probably come in and make sure that everything is sanitized and all that good stuff.
Yeah, we do our Mike does the inspection on Friday morning usually before the event even opens, so they do all that. And and the tattoo artists are great. I mean, they get all their paperwork in, and we get everything submitted. Each one has a file, so it's an interesting process. But another thing we had to learn in year one was the process of getting all that done. But it's now it's just kind of turnkey, and these guys are great. So
so kind of hitting on that kind of stuff with doing a show here. Yeah, because I do a show here technically in October. You know. It's not the same as your show,
right?
But it's a show, and there's
still
a lot
big one.
There's a lot involved. So, for instance, like with this, so this is Godsmack that we put on the wall here, and they've got these flames going here. So I'm sure, because I know from personal experience with this kind of stuff, I had to put a fire suppression, which is why I couldn't do the 2018 show. Because we were putting our fire suppression in. Yeah. I mean, is it a long process to get the permits?
No, you know, I mean, it's really not. I mean, the city's been amazing. Like there's not enough good stuff that can be said about Mansfield. Yeah. And the way that they've worked with us on these permits and all the stuff that we need to get things done, I mean, they've just been fantastic, and they've worked with us on everything. They've been quick to respond. And you know, obviously year one we didn't have anything like that. Year two, right. You know, we were allowed to have pyro for the first time. This year, you know, we've got a lot of pyro. Yeah, we have obviously like with we have a brand new stage. We have it's called a Sam 750. It's a lot larger. Yeah, it's almost twice the size as the stage we had previous years. So it's gonna be big. It's gonna be big. Yeah. It's gonna be a big stage. So it's covered on all three sides, which means the sun going down behind the stage you won't get blinded from, which. You know, one of those little things that I think the fans are really going to like. Yeah. Well, again, that learning process. Learning process, right. And we couldn't have the stage anywhere but where the sun set, you know, but this is going to help that a lot. That's cool. But long story short, it's the stage is set up for these kind of performances. So, right on. We're stoked. I mean, I know for a fact that these bands are bringing massive shows this year with them, and it's going to be huge. So
yeah, we're excited. So, okay, so I was looking at the drawings or the CAD files or whatever. Yeah. So typically you've got two stages. Did I see a third stage?
There is, yeah. Yeah, we had a smaller third stage this year, kind of a rising stars stage.
That's cool.
For local, regional, and even some nationals are over there. Yeah. Like Dead Girls Academy is going to be playing again this year. The Convalescents, which played in 2019. Yes. So we got a couple national bands. They're playing that stage, and then there's also some local spots earlier in the day.
That's cool.
Yeah, something that being like I said, being a local myself from the city, not from Mansfield, but from Cleveland and from the state. Like there's always like a soft spot in my heart for those bands that are on the underground. You know what I mean? And giving them a spotlight to play at this event and have their name on a poster with these huge artists. It's something that will be really beneficial to them. Yeah, and just. Like, it's just cool in general. You get to find some new talent. You know what I mean?
They all come from somewhere.
Yeah, and these national bands, they're going to roll on to the next city. These guys are going to be here. You can see them again throughout the year. Like I know we did that with like Impending Lies the one year, and those guys benefited greatly from it. You know, it helped their fan base, and it's just a cool thing to see. So we're stoked. Hopefully, it goes really good this year, and we can continue to do a third stage every year, which would be awesome.
That would be cool. I noticed too that like. So if you're coming to Ink this year, you're going to notice some changes. Stage is going to be bigger. VIP sections in a different area. Yeah. And your stage 2 is now right beside stage 1. Yes.
No, stage 2 is actually So we expanded the grounds this year by about 150,000 square feet. So as you probably know, Reformatory Road is going to be closed down for the weekend. The fence line's expanding all the way to the woods. So for those
killer.
that don't know, we expanded quite a bit. So stage 2 is actually going to be over where in that parking lot over there.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
so yeah, stage 2 will be there. Stage 1 will be main stage, obviously in the same spot.
Yeah.
VIP over against the building and all that patio area there.
Yeah.
And then stage 3 over in the circle lot over there, as I call it.
Yeah.
The circle
the
grass
circle.
lot. Yeah,
Yep.
the circle lot. So
That's cool though.
So yeah, and it's a bunch of other stuff that we're working on. So I mean, we're literally every day just trying to find out cool new things to like bring this year. The good thing for us is we sold out in a week. So it was like once the show was sold out, we're like, hey, now we got some time to really just work on the festival and the experience and try to upgrade every area we can. And just, we want people to come this year and just have that holy crap moment of like walking in going, oh my gosh, like it's been so long since I've been to a concert or a festival. And if this is their first one back, it's going to be one that for them to remember. So
tell me how cool it was to say, okay, we're having the festival this year. Tickets are on sale. We don't know who's going to be here.
Right.
And people just start buying tickets like mad. With no line of announcement.
It was incredible. And I think that a lot of credit does go to DWP for that.
Yeah.
Because I think that, people who go to DWP shows, they know that brand. They know that when we partner with them in the off year, essentially people know that they bring a lineup every time.
Yeah.
So I think there was some trust there that they had with the fans, and we did as well. But there's decades of trust with those, or over a decade of trust with them,
Right.
especially in Columbus with Rock on the Range and Sonic Temple.
Sonic Temple,
So like people know that when DWP is involved with the show, you're gonna have a big lineup. And I think that had a lot to do with it. So that was still great. And I mean, and then when we announced the lineup and actually announced, who was playing, everything like that.
Yeah.
And just to watch the reaction at that point. It was pretty cool. And then within 7 days after announcing the lineup, we were 100% sold out.
Yeah, crazy.
Which was awesome. So.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it wasn't easy holding the Mudvayne secret in for as long as I did. That was like the hardest thing to do.
That came out early, actually. I heard about that.
Yeah, we might have dropped some hints and stuff out there a couple times. So.
tell me though, because I tell everybody, like, I have friends of mine that will bring me, dude, give them my seat. I'm like, I am not giving Ink your music. I'm not going to do that. It's not how it works.
Tell them I don't have a CD player. They got to email me the music.
Exactly right. Tell me how funny it gets when you hear all these rumors of these bands that are going to come.
Yeah.
And you just want to be like, no, that's not true.
Well, what's more crazy, Vic, is like there's rumors. So I remember like back in like, I want to say, January or so, January, February, I saw rumors dropping on some of the blog sites, and the rumors at the time were right. Or they were like the bands that we were talking to about playing, and so you see these. I'm like, who is leaking this stuff? Like, I don't know who it is because you've got like 2 people booking. You know what I mean? So it was just kind of funny but we moved our dates from July to September, so then we had we had to start all over again with the line. Not all over. Most of the bands moved over, but some of our headliners couldn't do September that we're planning for July. So it was just kind of funny to see this stuff and to see these leaks. But then there's some that are really funny, and you're like, yeah, okay, I wish we could get those guys.
Yeah, right, yeah.
You know what I mean, or whatever. But it is funny. I don't know where that stuff comes from. I don't know who does it. I feel like people just make things up, and some of them are right. You know what I mean? So
okay, and we kind of touched on it a little bit.
Yeah.
So let's get the bad year out of the way.
Yeah,
Last year, 2020 rolls around, and all that bullshit goes on with
Right.
COVID, and it's just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And it was disheartening.
Yeah.
Were you concerned? I mean, like this could be the end of Ink.
Yeah, I was. I honestly, it was probably one of the most devastating years of my life, just because it was like we finally had this festival that was doing great, and there was just such positive energy behind it. And, and then just to have it kind of just come falling down, like, I just remember like the denial, you know what I mean, of like what was going on. Cause like, it was like March, we're like, okay, like this will be like 2 weeks. We'll be good. We're in July. We'll be fine. You know what I mean? Then it's like April, May, and then we're like, okay, well maybe if we move to September, we'll still be fine by September, right?
Yeah.
And then it's just the reality. It's like you're almost in denial about it, and like the reality is like you're just like finally at some point you're going, you know what? We got to make a call here because I mean sales obviously went to a halt. Nobody was selling tickets because people weren't going to buy. They didn't think like the majority of America was like, yeah, there's not going to be any music this year. And then when it got really bad, it was just, we had to pull the plug. I mean, and there's nothing you could do about it. I think one of the cool things about the music industry this year was that the agents worked really good with everybody. The deposits that were sent in for bands, all that stuff they refunded, or they rolled their band over to the next year. So it was like, it made it a lot easier to refund your fans. And that was one thing we want to do, is either refund or roll over. Like, we're having a show next year. We know we're going to, we know COVID's not going to be here forever. So either you can roll your tickets over to next year, or, you can get a refund. We're going to hold their money, for an entire year. So, and we did. We processed those refunds. We had about maybe a 10 to 15% rollover. It was about 10% rollover. So, it was kind of cool. To get 10% of people that were like, you know what, we trust you guys, we're coming next year. I thought that was kind of a neat thing.
Yeah.
But because we weren't even expecting that. We're like, everybody's got to get a refund. These people need money right now. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So that worked out. We got everybody refunded, and that was good. It was definitely difficult to do, because you got to think, that we have a third party ticketing company that's got, one of the largest in the country. They've got all these festivals, everything's canceling, so they're refunding literally 50 festivals at one time.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot to process, and so I appreciate the fans for sticking by us and dealing with that process. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's going to take 30 to 60 days, but we're going to do it. So that was cool. So we did that, and then there was a moment there where, you do start to worry, is this it? Because it got grim, and you're like, are people going to go to, even if we do have festivals next year, are people going to feel comfortable enough to even go to one?
Yeah.
We you started to see a little bit of some things happening, and with the vaccines and this and that, and you start to get a little bit of hope, and, start talking back in the last, fall, late summer, early fall. But that's when we started talking with, Danny Wimmer Presents, and just like I said, all the promoters kind of started talking. Everybody's kind of communicating, and I started, communicating with Danny Wimmer and his staff, or Danny and Danny, as I call him, Danny Hayes, Danny Wimmer.
Yeah.
And we were just got to talking a lot, and they were well aware about Inc. We got on their radar, and they were like, hey, any interest in joining the DWP family? And we're like, you know what? If we're going to do it, now's the time. You know what I mean? It's an off year. It gives us a lot of time to get to know each other, get our plans together, get a game plan, get a strategy. And that's what we did. The first band Danny threw at me, he's like, hey, what would you think about Mudvayne reunion at Inc.? I'm like, yes, please.
For sure.
I'm like, this relationship is going to work out really good. so yeah, it was pretty exciting stuff. But
so what determines, this is a question I've had for you for a while, actually, what determines, your lineup? Is it availability? Because if you looked at the year that 2020, you had Limp Bizkit, was it Blink-182?
Yeah.
And
Weezer.
Yeah.
Completely different year.
Right.
Yeah.
So
we tried to, yeah. It does come down to availability. It comes down to, availability is the biggest thing. Touring, money, you know what I mean? Whether
Sure.
promoters have events around the same time. So I think that, there's so many different things that come into play.
Yeah.
A lot of people think it's just convincing an agent or paying them enough money and they'll get the band out.
Yeah.
And that's not always the case. You really, these bands, it's hard to get them to do a one-off, but they will from time to time. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of factors. So, normally what I do when I'm booking is I'll have a list to start with, right? Like a wish list.
Wish list, yeah.
And then, and it's a big one. So usually about 100 to 120 bands. And then I watch the Billboard rock charts, mainstream rock charts, Octane charts, all this
Sure.
stuff. You're kind of seeing what is going right now, what's hip, what's not, what's in. Mm-hmm. And then you also have your gut bands that you just know, they're bands that are always gonna do well. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
and they're always cool to have on a poster. You know what I mean? They may not be the biggest draw on there, but people love to see them. So,
Right.
So there's a lot of factors that come into play. I also look at when the last time they played in the market was. I think that there's some bands that play every 6 months, 9 months. You know what I mean? It feels like you see them all the time. So,
Right.
I do like trying to find acts that haven't been here in a while. So this year was awesome because Slipknot hasn't been here since I think 2016, I want to say, or something like that.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. And then obviously Mudvayne was been 14 years. They haven't done anything. So, and then, Zombie's been a couple years as well. So it was kind of nice to have some headliners that hadn't been here yet in a while and be able to kind of bring those out.
On a personal level,
Yeah.
doing what you do.
Yeah.
Do you ever I'm getting this band? I love these guys. I
Yes.
want to get. That's what I thought.
I try not to because what I like and what I like might not always be what everybody else likes. You know what I mean? So I try to find stuff. You know what I mean? Like I do have to separate there are these bands that I'll be like, oh, I really want to get them, but I just don't know if that's gonna do good enough on Ink.
Sure.
I listen to everything, so like I might really like Our Lady Peace. You know what I mean? And but like maybe that doesn't in 2020 or 2021 at opening for Slipknot, that's not gonna work. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like there definitely are those bands though. I mean for sure. I'm happy to say that. I've gotten enough of those in my lifetime so far doing Ink that I feel pretty good. I think judging from how things are going, looking at 2022, I'm going to get a lot of them I like, which I'm really stoked about too.
Yeah.
So it's a fun process, man. I mean, I'm a fan first of music. So like,
Right.
I mean, I've been going to concerts my whole entire life. I played in a band, a small local band for a while. I play guitar. I love to I do a little bit of singing. I used to be a lot cooler and better at it, but I mean, I'm a fan first, so this is a dream come true to be able to put on a rock festival and book some of these bands that I've been listening to forever, Well,
and I want to thank you personally because being able to work with you and Mike Kaminsky and everybody, it was honestly kind of a little dream come true for me because I mean, I'm not a musician, but I got into radio as a young man because I'm like I loved music,
right, and
I wanted to play music. But I can't play music. So I'm like, I'll get into radio. You know what I mean? Well, radio is dying.
Yeah.
It sucks because, I love it. But it's just, it's a different game now.
It is a different game, yep.
So when I could go into everything that I've done over the years, but like getting here and then starting to work with you for Ink was really cool because I got to kind of the same thing, not obviously book bands that I want, but be a part of that.
Be a part of it, right.
Yeah, and it was like, this is so cool. Like, I met Zach Wilde from Black Label Society. I grew up listening to that guy play for Ozzy Osbourne. Yeah. So when I got the opportunity to meet him, I took it, and it was great. Amazing. And I didn't fan out on him or anything.
You got to meet the best. See, meeting band-wise, like, I get screwed every year.
Yeah.
Like, I try to schedule something with, like, production. Like, hey, can I meet, and then for some reason, every single year, I get screwed by it. But whatever, it's all good.
I got lucky. I mean, it was like, they did this stuff in the West Cell Block where they did the interviews, and I got to, because I was head of security, so they called me up. It's like, hey, let's get a golf cart and take them. I'm like, yes, I can do that.
Wait, what am I doing? We should say we can sound cool. Yeah, we're backstage partying with these guys.
Yeah, exactly, man. We were getting crazy.
We were getting crazy.
I got Zach Wilde drinking again. Man. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we're having a big party back there. Yeah. That's great.
But it was really fun because that dude, he talked at length like we'd known each other for 20 years.
Yeah.
And he actually acted like he was going to punch me in the face. It was so funny because he was just dishing on these political subjects. And it was so funny because we were just standing back there. I'm like, talking. And I'm trying not to geek out that I'm standing next to like a guitar hero of mine. Yeah. You know what I mean? And they ended up getting a picture with him and everything. So those little kind of fringe things that I got to do. So I thank you for giving me that opportunity.
Oh, no problem.
Not that I went looking for it, Dan.
No, listen, man, I'm going looking this year. I tell you what, man, I'm going looking. I want some photos. I want a good photo with Rob Zombie.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, me too. So speaking of this year, let's get to this year because 2020 is over. It's in the rearview mirror.
In the rearview mirror, yeah.
And we're happy about that.
Exactly.
So 2021 rolls around. Like I said earlier, you guys are like, hey, we're going to do the festival.
Yeah.
Tickets are on sale. Who's the lineup? We have no idea, but tickets are flying off the shelf.
Yeah.
Announce the lineup. So Friday you just kill it on the first night. Right. You got Slipknot. And I no disrespect to Mudvayne or Rob Zombie, Day to Remember those guys. Slipknot's a hard act to follow.
Yeah.
That I've seen Slipknot probably 3 or 4 times from the early days of them.
They're a massive band. I don't think people realize how big Slipknot is. And and they
put on a great show.
Their stage show, even if you don't love the music, the stage show is worth watching because it's absolutely insane. So that's going to be an amazing show. I mean, Friday night's going to start off with a bang for sure.
Yeah, I remember seeing the lineup. I was just like, wow.
Yeah, that one got done quick. That was kind of a late thing, and it was just like, we talked about it, and that was one I was kind of begging for a little bit. I was like, we got to make this one happen. I thought that bringing Slipknot to Mansfield, Ohio, at the prison. Time to bring out the jumpsuits. You know what
man,
I mean? Like,
it's gonna get crazy. There's gonna be the maggots are gonna be everywhere.
Oh man, it's gonna be great. So that's gonna be exciting. I'm super pumped about that.
Yeah, that is huge. I saw that and I was like, wow. I mean, arguably one of the biggest bands in the world.
Yeah, arguably. Yup, absolutely. Yeah,
definitely in metal, rock or whatever, but overall, they're huge.
Huge.
They do giant arenas when they tour. So it's just I saw them at the last time I saw them was at Nationwide Arena in Columbus.
Yep.
I hope I can say that, but I mean,
probably.
That's where we saw them, and it was like just massive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they put on a great show. The first time I saw them was '99 at Ozfest, and it's just so funny how they've, you get older, you just can't do some of the crazy stuff you did.
Yeah.
But like that was the days of, I'll never forget the clown guy walking across the stage, and then this little guy in a jumpsuit, and he had the big eyes and the big mouth thing, and he just jumps on this dude's back, and they fall, and he's just beating the crap out of this guy. We're just like, what the hell's going on here? Corey Taylor's like just smashing the microphone on his head. And we're just like, what in the hell is this? So they've been around for a long time.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yep. And they're huge. That last album they put out was really good.
Yeah,
it was good stuff. So then Saturday, you bring in, there's also Mastodon, who I love.
Yep.
Killswitch Engage, and is it The Who?
The Who.
The Who?
The Who.
Okay, so it is the. I didn't want to mispronounce that because I'm like, it can't be The Who.
Have you heard them yet or no?
A little bit. A friend of mine played me some of that, and I was like,
it's really different. It's like they're a Mongolian metal band.
Yes.
And they are like hot right now. I mean, people love this band. They're different sounding. They put on an amazing show.
I can't wait.
I think that's going to be another highlight of the weekend is going to be watching them for sure.
Absolutely. And then Saturday, and we could go through the laundry list of all the bands, but you got Mudvayne. So no, I mean
first show back in 14 years. I think it's 12 or 14 years.
Very first
like in the world. The first show in the world in like crazy. 14 years, over a decade. So that one is pretty exciting. I think people are going to go. I think it's going to get crazy out there a little bit during their set. I mean, you can't help but to headbang during Berberdang. You know what I mean? Like you just can't. When that bass riff comes out there, people are going to go crazy. So
I haven't saw those guys back in the day. And
so exciting. It's going to be awesome.
Are they going to do the old school stuff?
Oh yeah.
Are they going to put the makeup on and everything?
I have no idea about that. I don't know that. Yeah. Well, hopefully. I mean, like that. I mean, I feel like we kind of need to see the makeup. You know?
Because they took it off after a while, didn't they? Didn't they stop wearing it?
I think so for certain events or whatever. Yeah. But it'd be kind of cool to see the makeup come back.
A Day to Remember.
Yep.
Chevelle.
Bringing those guys. Day to Remember back. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's cool though too to bring in another band back that.
I don't want to repeat bands like often.
Right.
So. The one thing going back to booking, like I wanted to wait at least like 2 to 3 years in between. Like I definitely not back to back years,
right?
But this year was a little funky because we didn't have a 2020, so there's a couple bands from 2019 on this one, like Motionless in White.
Yeah.
But in general, I do want to try to keep. I don't want repeats. I want every year to be different. And then start bringing them back in after about 2 to 3 years. A couple once here and there. So. So A Day to Remember, they were year one. So they're one of my favorite sets of the entire weekend.
Yeah.
And I just saw that crowd go crazy.
Yeah. I remember.
I mean, we're gonna let them fly a little more this year with the stage show because they generally bring in an awesome stage show. And that was year one. We played it a little conservative with what the bands were able to do.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna be in for some treats with A Day to Remember this year.
That's gonna be cool.
Yep.
And then Sunday. You mentioned Motionless in White, Hailstorm, Beartooth, and Rob Zombie.
Rob Zombie.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm super excited for that because, being a haunt guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You might, there might be, I would guess there's probably a chance he's going to want to tour the prison. I would guess.
Yeah.
I'd say there's a really high probability of that.
That'd be cool.
So yeah, let me know if you get that call. I'll join you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
it's usually you who takes them on some of those. You kind of go with them at all, or no?
Well, I
depending on the band, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to. No, I booked them for a while. Like they would call me and say, "Hey, so and so wants a tour." Okay,
Cool.
And then I'd kind of just be the liaison there. But
Yeah.
I kind of have a loose connection with Rob Zombie. I used to work in movies with Robert Kurtzman, and he's a special effects guy, and he did the visual effects actually on Rob's movie The Devil's Rejects.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So I was working for him at that time. That was the first movie credit I ever got. 'Cause
Nice.
like I said, I went from like radio to working in movies,
Yeah.
like loosely. I mean, I wasn't on. I mean, I was on movie sets, but not then.
Yeah.
You know, my boss Bob went out there and was on set for the whole movie.
Cool.
So, anyways, they did a. I got a poster. It's actually in my office. I got a poster, and it's got Bill Moseley's autograph because he came to our shop because he was shooting a movie here at the Reformatory.
Okay.
And he came to our shop and got his autograph, and it was cool. Got a picture and everything. But when you announced Rob Zombie, I was just like, oh, I hope I can get my poster signed. Because the day The Devil's Rejects came out, me and my friend Robert Kurtzman, a bunch of people from the shop, Matt, Andrew, we all went up, Dave, we all went up to Cleveland because I believe he was on Ozfest that year, and he did a one-off show at the House of Blues in Cleveland. This would have been in 06 maybe, or 05.
A while ago, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. My boss called him up and was like, hey, we want to come up for the show. And he hooked us up. And he's like, yeah, sure, come on up. So we went up and got to see Rob Zombie. It was Rob Zombie and Mastodon, actually.
Oh, wow, okay.
Was the two bands that were there. And put on a great show. But they had to, like, soon as they were off the stage, they were on the bus and gone.
Nice.
Because they were on Ozfest, they had to go. So we didn't get to hang
makes
out.
sense.
So I'm kind of hoping I can pull some strings. I might know somebody.
Yeah.
To get my poster signed. I don't know. I'm just going to throw that out there.
We'll try to get your poster signed, man. I think we could definitely try to make that happen.
that would be killer. No, but you know.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I am a huge fan of his movies too. So like, I definitely would be excited to meet him too as well.
Well, and they just announced he's going to do the Munsters movie.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
You know, and I was like, well,
that's going to be an interesting take on that.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
Agreed.
Like, is this going to be an R-rated scary version, or is this like a comedy? I don't know.
Have you ever seen the Munsters? There's nothing R-rated
exactly.
about it.
That's what I'm saying. It could be. I'm sure there's got to be some kind of Rob Zombie twist on it. You know.
So I'm super excited because the last time because I'm old, back in the day, I saw White Zombie.
Uh-huh.
That's the first time I saw Rob Zombie was White Zombie, La Sexorcisto album. And, you know, it was great then. Mm-hmm. And his stage show was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, so we're really kind of pumped to see that.
That's why we had to get a bigger stage this year. I mean, like, that's the one thing that you learn with some of these headliners and stuff. I mean, if you're going to bring them in, you've got to get a bigger stage because they have a bigger stage show, and you want to be able to. They want to be able, and so do we want them to be able to give the fans their full experience and their whole stage setup. You know.
Yeah, and
that's cool.
And he's always put on a great show. And, you know, and there's a running, it's not a joke, but, you know, if you run a haunt like I do, you know, you've always got, because we have music outside during the event, so there's always Living Dead Girls on rotation.
Right.
And, you know, Super Beast and Dragula and,
right.
Of course, Old White Zombie too, you know what I mean? But that's kind of the haunt. So that's why when I said earlier, when you announced the lineup, we were all just like, oh man, this is going to be like a regular weekend during haunt season, man. Yeah, just being awesome. Open for that weekend. We're super excited for. So thanks for letting us come and do the show with you guys.
Yeah, I think it brings a lot to the event. I think it'll be, I think we've even talked about some ideas to get more awareness of it during the event.
Yeah,
and, run some promos like just so people know that it's happening. I think that's the biggest thing is letting the audience that's here know that hey, you can go inside and see the haunted house. So
definitely. Portion of it. Yeah. Because
exactly.
We'll still, the tours will still be going on.
Yep.
Tattoos and everything.
Everything, yeah.
But it's.
There's no shortage of things to do at all. So.
Really, yeah. And that's so awesome that you have that variety of things. Oh yeah, okay, Slipknot's going to be here, but you want to get out of the heat and go inside, check out the haunted house, get a tattoo. Well, if you can.
And I'm working on a couple other things too, just to add more things for people to do.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I don't want to talk about it yet and jinx it, but it's kind of a neat idea, and I think the people are going to dig it. So
I remember one year that. It might have been every year, but when I was still working with you guys, I noticed a little more. You had those fountains those misters.
Yeah.
And there was
Misters
just
and water fountains. Yeah.
they're just like people, just like all these half naked women just rolling around, and I'm sitting there like, what's going on? You know, because it's so hot. So are you excited maybe a little that it's probably not going to be as hot.
It's not going to be as hot. It's September.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be, but yeah, no, I mean, we're not going to have near the heat issues we've had in years past.
Yeah.
So, but again, I mean, then going back, we're probably going to be back in July or at least in the summer next year.
Yeah.
So, or 2022. So it'll be back to the drawing board and how can we make this place cooler? So it's going to be,
rough.
that's going to, this year we got to pass. We got like, okay, it's going to be hot. It's not going to be hot out as much. So we don't have to worry about all that as much. We still have the water stations and stuff. Those are all going to be there.
Right. 80 degrees and
yeah.
95 is
are a big difference.
two different. Yeah.
So
especially when you're outside all day, all weekend.
Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna do our best to keep everybody cool and hydrated. But the real challenge, if we can do it in July, we'll have no issues in September. So
yeah, of course, yeah.
But
so to put at a scale of how big incarceration is becoming,
yeah,
like if you got tickets, I hope you booked your hotel because there's not one to be had.
No,
Nowhere.
I mean we're it's one of the things that when we're working on the event, it's like, man, if we had more parking and more hotels, we can maybe expand a little bit more. You know what I mean? But and we did. We expanded a lot this year, but I think we've kind of hit, around about is where we can go. I mean, but again, I mean, it's a lot of people do commute. We do have a lot of Ohio ticket buyers, and. But yeah, hotels are booked through like Columbus and Cleveland, and people coming in from all over the country.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing, and we're happy that people are coming to our state. You know what I mean?
Yeah. A friend of mine's coming in, and of course he calls me. I'm like, there's nothing I can do for you.
Yeah.
He's like, what about Ashland? Is there? I'm like, there's none.
Ashland, no. There's none
not
in Ashland.
Nope. Not even Ashland, and that's close, but it's not right Ontario.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like, no, dude. There's no camping. Nope. It's all gone, man.
Yeah,
it's booked out.
Yeah, the camping's booked out. I mean, everything's pretty much sold to the brim. So there might be a small. I can't say much right now. It might be a small possibility that through some clever maneuvering, we might be able to release just a little bit more tickets, just a little bit more.
Really?
Yes. But they're going to be gone as soon as we announce it. So, so if we do that, which I don't know for sure if it's going to happen yet or not, we're still working on it. But if we do that, then some people that want to go, they might still have a chance. So we'll see what happens.
Cool. Are you going to put that on social media?
Yeah, if we end up doing it, we'll put it out there so people know. And like I said, it'd be like a very limited amount. We had between like some of the clever maneuvering on the site layout, and if somebody misses a lay, if someone defaults on their layaway, those come back. You know what I mean? So there's a couple different tickets like that, or comps that went unused. So we want to make sure we get everybody who wants to come a ticket this year. It's never going to happen because there's a lot of people that want to come, but at least if we can get a couple more out there, that'd be nice. So so we'll see what happens with that, but that'd be kind of cool.
Are you doing like local giveaways and stuff like that?
Yeah, always doing giveaways. Did some radio giveaways, stations like that. So
keep your ears out on radio.
Keep your ears out on radio. Yeah, I don't know how many more they've got. They probably blew through all of them by now, but like
or they kept them all for themselves.
Or they kept them all for themselves for their teams, right? The radio's like, we're not giving these things out. We're selling them on eBay. What are you talking about?
That was the greatest thing. One of the greatest things about working in radio was the free concerts you got to go to. You know what I mean? You got to go to a lot of them.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's awesome.
So, okay. Again, I want to thank you because, being able to run a portion of my event during incarceration is huge for us.
Yeah.
It gets, let us do the booth out there. We can hand our flyers out. And it helps us tremendously for, just getting the word out there. I mean, most people know we're here. Yeah. But, for a lot of people that come in from, to other places.
Other places, yeah. It's the first time experiencing any of it. And, no, I mean, and thanks to you, too. I mean, I don't think we would have made it through year 1 or 2 without you. You know what I mean? And, and you're still very much involved with like, helping us just with different things, facilitating, with security and stuff like that. And just being like, involved with all that and blood prison. So you're definitely helping out a lot, and we appreciate you, and I appreciate you having me on the podcast here.
Yeah, glad to do it. We're relatively new on the podcast, so we're glad to have you guys on. But we're super excited. So real quick before we go, looking into the future, obviously since everything's behind us, we can move forward. Right. So you're looking to then, so just so everyone knows, people keep asking me, is it always going to be in September? I'm like, I don't think so. I think we're going to move
Yeah.
back to a July or an August date, possibly. So that is the what's going to happen.
I think we're gonna stick to summer. It's like I said, July or August. We haven't completely landed on a date. We got to narrow down to about 3 or 4 dates for weekends. So we're just trying to figure out which one makes the most sense.
Cool.
But yeah, I think it's going to be a summer fest. I think we want to keep it a summer fest. There's a lot going on in the fall. I mean, there's a lot going on in the spring.
Yep.
Summer gets kind of a dead zone. You know what I mean? For big festivals. So at least for big rock festivals, anyways. And so we'll see what happens. But I mean, I think that for sure it'll be still summer.
And people are going to be, especially this year, people are going to be ready to go to this.
They're ready. I mean, it's that you could tell they're ready. You could see it in the sales, and I think that even 2022 is going to be. I know that a lot of the people that whoever they are that do all the polls, all the polls and stuff like that. I mean, they're thinking that 2022 is going to be a massive year for concerts again. I mean, this is something that our culture needs. You know what I mean? Our society needs. It's the one place we can all go to like hang out, have a good time, and not worry about a lot of things. And that's what music and festivals always do. And I think that, without those, people start to go a little nutty out there. You know what I mean? So I think it's important. And I think we have over a year to make up, a year and a half to make up here. So it's going to be great.
I haven't been to a show since November of 2019.
Yeah, me neither.
That was the last show I was at. It was a big show, but it was just like...
I think my last one was January of 2020. So I saw MGK at CSU. So I went up to that and saw that. But that was I think that was the last concert.
That's when
I
it was
at. So
really breaking then.
It was like kind of getting weird, and you're like,
The last one I saw was there was no... We just went, you know what I mean? It was
it was just nothing.
We're going to a show. It was after Halloween season, so it took some friends, and we all met up there, and it was it was a great show, and we didn't think nothing about.
Yeah.
We did mask. What?
Right.
Mask. Like, wear a mask. What do you mean? Social distance. We're on top of each other here. What are you talking about? Each other.
Well, I mean, all I could say is that it's a miracle. Like, it's awesome. I'm happy that things are coming back to normal. Are getting back to normal. Ohio's numbers are great. Like everything's looking phenomenal, and I feel like it's exciting. It's exciting to get back to normal a little bit.
Dude, I'm so excited for this year's event. For my event, the fact that we got to run during COVID.
Yeah,
last
you guys did. You're right. Yeah, that had to be a nightmare though.
It was. Yeah, I'm excited for this year
to not have to worry about all the restrictions again. Right.
Yeah. So I'm excited for. Because like our opening weekend is October 1st.
Yeah.
Okay. So that weekend with you guys in September is technically kind of going to be an opening weekend where, it's going to be.
Yeah, kind of, right. Like almost
knock
like a
the
run.
rust off a little bit and, run through a few things and get a good crowd in, because just the numbers we're talking, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be crazy. So we're super excited for the lineup.
Yep.
And everything that's going on. Again, man, thank you so much for letting Blood Prison be a part
Totally.
Of incarceration, dude. I hope we have this going on for years to come. I see it
being an every year thing. I mean, that's what I kind of assumed and see it being. I think it's a huge part of it, and it's a fun thing to do. I mean, people need other things to do that weekend. So
right. And if you love this music, this is the crowd we bring in. So this is
it, right?
It's a good marriage.
It's a good marriage, man.
So thanks again for doing that with us and working with us. And
absolutely.
Thanks for coming on to the podcast here and joining us on the Shakedown. And dude, if there's anything else we can do for you, just let us know. We'll be talking, as we get closer and everything. But thank you for everything, and thanks for coming in. And dude, I hope you have a killer show this year. We'll be there, and let's rock it, man. It's gonna be awesome.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, Dan. Thanks for joining us, man. We appreciate it.
Cool.